I think you can be a CEO of a company, but if you can't communicate, it really doesn't mean anything. So I think communication is key. Learning how to communicate with your people, learning how to get the most out of your people, listening to your people. I think surrounding yourself with successful people is also the key. I think that's in life as well as in business. You know, look at when you grew up. If you surround yourself with people that are, you know, into drugs or into this or into anything, you're going to fall into that pattern. So I think a couple of the key things that helped me out growing my business was, number one, surrounding myself with successful people, knowing how to get the most out of the people that I have around me, making changes. A lot of people don't like to make changes. I've made changes through my whole life. That's definitely one of the key things. If you're stagnant, you know, if you make a widget and you continue to make that widget, there's going to come a day when somebody else is going to make a better widget. So you always have to think in the future. You always have to think ahead. You always have to have your people thinking ahead. So change is another thing that I think is the key to success. What else do I think the key to success is? I said this in Indy. I said it's not who you know, it's who you know, it's what you know about who you know. I mean, that's key. You know, guys are salespeople and they go and they sell, but they don't know much about the guy they're selling to. You know, they have a job, they're trying to make money, they're trying to sell a product, or they're trying to sell a service. You know, you don't know whether this guy got up on the wrong side of the bed. You don't know whether this guy got up on the right side of the bed. You don't know if this guy's the type of guy that likes to be patted on the head and saying, hey, nice job. Had a bad night with his wife, had a bad day with his kids. So I think these things are also the key to success. Knowing how to deal with people. Knowing actually how to be a chameleon. Walk into a place and be a chameleon and turn into what you need to be to make the sale, as well as making this guy feel good about himself. So one other key to success that I want to talk about is sacrifice. You know, I grew up with a lot of kids who were born, pardon the language, we used to call it a silver spoon up their ass, where their fathers had a business and the kid really didn't know how to work hard, how to succeed. He stepped into his father's business, and you know, that's how it worked. You know, he just really didn't get that feeling. You know, the key to success is sacrifice. You know, you have to make some sacrifices. You have to work hard. You know, coming from someone who had nothing when I was a kid to where I am today, it's a lot of hard work and it's a lot of sacrifices. And there's sometimes, you know, you have to make choices. You have to make tough family choices. You have to make tough friendship choices. You have to make choices where, you know, you have to work instead of playing. You know, and sometimes you have to work 7 days a week. Sometimes you have to work on a Sunday. I mean, I went through those stages. Sometimes you have to work 16 hours a day. So I think you have to be willing to sacrifice. If you're not willing to sacrifice, then your level of success depends on, it would just depend on how lucky you could be. You know, I don't think success is luck. I mean, you can be in the right place at the right time. I've been in the right place at the right time. I've had tremendous failures and I've come back. And you can take that for being successful. You can take that for me being in the right place at the right time. But one thing I did not, I never gave up. You know, I was 27 years old and I lost everything I had and I bounced back. You know, that's tough for a lot of people. A lot of people at that point would just quit. But I think you're only on this earth for a short period of time. And I think you do, in the 8 hours or the 10 hours or the 15 hours you work, I'm a firm believer. If you're not going to give it 110%, you might as well stay home. And I used to tell that to my employees all the time. If you're not going to come in here and give me 110 or 120%, stay home for the day. I'll tell you something. So I will tell you this. My kids lived a privileged life. Were they born with a silver spoon up their ass? Absolutely not. Every one of my kids went to work when they were 10 years old. And I taught them, one of the things as a parent and we're kind of getting off the track here, but one of the things as a parent that you want to do is you want to make your kids self-sufficient. You know, you want to have your kid 21, 24, 25, 26 years old, out on his own, supporting himself, you know, and I did that, and that's a big success for me. That's almost a bigger success for me than my business success. You know, yes, I laid the groundwork. I wasn't fortunate enough to go to college. I had no direction when I was a kid. I was fortunate enough to have the money to send all three through school. All three graduated, which was very, very important to me. You know what? The degree didn't mean much, but it was important to me that they went to college and they graduated. And I also had them working. Corey worked for me in school. Stephen worked for me in school. Barry worked for me in school. It wasn't like they went to school like some of these kids and had a free ride. They all worked for me, and they all developed a value of the dollar. And when they left school, I told them, it's no game. You're on your own. And that's one of my greatest successes. Well, the strangest thing that ever happened to me was, you know, you talk about motivation and you talk about, you know, you talk about giving 110%. And I remember I was in Florida and I got a call from, I actually got an email from this company. And the company, at the time, this company, I don't know, the guy was a purchasing agent or something like that. And he says, you know, I got a small piece of platinum here that I want you to pick up and process. So I'm in Florida, and I was actually at a convention, and I didn't get too excited about it because, you know, he said it was a very small piece of platinum. So I thought he maybe had an ounce of platinum, a half an ounce of platinum, which at the time was worth about $1,100 a half an ounce, or $2,200 an ounce. So I didn't think much of it. So I got back, and the guy was in Neverland. It was 3.5 hours away from Boston. So the last thing I wanted to do was go see this guy to make, you know, $200 or $300. But I flew back from Florida. I was down here on a convention. I flew back from Florida. I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning, and next day I got up at 7:30, 8 o'clock. I said, you know what? The guy called me down in Florida. I might as well take a ride up there. What's the big deal? So I take a ride up there, and I go into the guy's office, and he had a piece of platinum. The piece of platinum contained about, I think it was 160 ounces of platinum. The piece of platinum was worth about $220,000. And I was shocked. And what happened was, it was a research and development company, and he had gotten the platinum as a grant, or he got the money to buy the platinum as a grant, and he was using the platinum on a piece of copper as an energy source. Don't ask me how. The platinum was giving off energy for some source. So obviously, you know, my eyes lit up, right? Long story short, I picked it up and I made about $120,000 on it. That happened to be one, and I almost didn't go. And that's the point of it is you never ever give up, and you never ever know. You have no idea. Right. You have no idea. I mean, I probably have 10 stories like that. It's got to be a sirloin. It's got to be a Kansas City steak. Bone in. St. Elmo's, man. If I was dying, I'd probably take a trip to St. Elmo's. You know. There you go. You know, with the oxygen tank on a stretcher, and you know, they wheel me up to that private room. I'd invite all my friends for one last blast. You know, vodka's all around. Whatever you want.
What's your favorite drink?
Got to be vodka. Got to be Grey Goose on the rocks with a couple of wedges of lemon. Well, my favorite drink. Well, you know something. I got to go back. My death row meal. I have 2 death row meals.
Okay.
So the other death row meal, you'd have to take me to Golden Temple in Chestnut Hill in Newton. I mean, that would be probably my first death row meal. St. Elmo's would be my second, and I'd probably have maybe 10, 12, 15 Stoli Dolis, and I wouldn't want to eat too much food because it will ruin my buzz. But
what's in a Stoli Doli?
Stoli Doli is an amazing drink. Okay, all my kids make Stoli Dolis. In fact, I'm going out to LA next week, and Steven's making Stoli Dolis. So what you do is you get a container, that has a spigot on it. And you've seen it, it's infused vodka in some bars. You see the same container, but this particular drink is just made for Stoli Doli. So you take Dole pineapple and you try to have the Dole pineapple ripe, and you cut it up into segments. And you put it into this big container, and then you pour Stoli Doli over it, and you let it sit for 6 to 10 days. And what happens is the pineapple absorbs all the acidity from the vodka. And it's like drinking pure pineapple juice, but it's actually fuel. You know, it's rocket. It's actually rocket fuel.
Put hair on your chest?
It'll kill you, man. You never had one?
I've never.
Let me tell you a little bit about Gizmodo, because being kind of a successful company, we wanted to give a little bit back to the community. So Gizmodo hooked up with a company or a charity called Build On. And what Build On does is, Build On is a huge corporation, and they're into many, many facets of charity. And we're a partner with Build On. So every cell phone that comes in, Build On gets a percentage of it. And what Build On does, you can look them up online, they're a very cool company. What they do is they build schools all over the United States and all over the world for underprivileged kids and countries that don't have up-to-date school systems. And we also donate any computers that we get that are reusable. We're also in the electronic scrap industry that I told you about. Any computers that we get that are usable, we wipe them clean, and we also send them to Build On. It's a pretty cool thing, and my son Barry Schneider set that up. So he's in charge of that, and he's done an unbelievable job.
There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes.
All right, I'm done with that shit. Give me the next question.
I love it.